Hello everyone, I'm pretty excited to e-meet you all through AWS Reinvent Recap for AWS Budapest Community of Practice. Thanks a lot, Madhu, for your invite. Let me share my screen. This is our agenda for AWS Reinvent Recap. I'm going to talk about builder's experience, serverless, and DevOps. Starting with builder's experience. So what are the things that we're going to see as part of builder's experience? This section covers the launches that helps the builders build on AWS. We're going to see three exciting things as part of this. The first one is AWS Application Composer, and the second one, Amazon Code Catalyst, and the third one is going to be Amazon Code Whisperer. So first, let's get started with Application Composer. So when we talk about Application Composer, what comes to our mind? Assume if you're new to serverless, you might experience a very steep learning curve when you're trying to compose application using multiple AWS services. First, we need to understand which services you're going to use, how to make them work together, and how to configure the defaults. Certain defaults, how would you configure? So once you have this basic architecture in place, you might want to learn a bit of infrastructure as a code to deploy your application, because building and deploying a cloud native application is not a one-time job. You have to review, rebuild, and deploy multiple times. For that, infrastructure as a code plays a very crucial role. So with all this, as your application evolves, it's hard to communicate and visualize how the architecture has changed, isn't it? So the AWS Application Composer helps you to visualize and compose, further configure AWS services into serverless applications completely backed by infrastructure as a code. So when we talk about these things, what are the key benefits of AWS Application Composer? One, you can visually compose serverless application using AWS services with very little guesswork. And you can rapidly generate ready to deploy infrastructure as a code that follows the best practices. And you will be able to model the architecture that is easier to share, and your team members can quickly build on that preliminary structure to make a more complex and robust architecture that you need. So, how quickly can you compose this workflow? So all that you have to do is log into AWS Management Console, drag and drop using Visual Editor, and compose it with a little guesswork. And that's it. It simplifies the common tasks. So this visual editor accelerates the team collaboration without you have to read hundreds of lines of code and configure them. And also it helps you to translate that visual architecture into deployment-ready configuration that is backed by infrastructure as a code best practices. At the end of the day, what do you want? You wanted to maximize agility while you lower the total cost of ownership, right? Serverless development is the fastest path to take your idea into production. In a nutshell, the AWS Application Composer will help any team further accelerate the path by reducing the learning curve so that they can take the idea into production faster. So next one, so what are the different use cases that you can think of while you're trying to use AWS Application Composer? First one, it is pretty easy to design and build existing serverless applications, or you're going to update the existing applications, right? So let me repeat, it is pretty easy to design and build new serverless applications, or you'll be able to pretty easily update the existing applications. And the second one, you can deploy your serverless application using infrastructure as a code with implementing the best practices predefined by Amazon Web Services. And the third one, you'll be able to visualize your application architecture and configuration pretty easily with the Visual Composer. So how do you get started with the application composer? Log into AWS Management Console, begin to draw an architecture of your application. Either you can start a new architecture from the scratch, or you can go ahead and start building by importing an existing infrastructure as a code template and go on. Once you are done, you'll be able to export that template, bring into your own SDK or CI/CD, and then execute it. Right? Next one, Amazon Code Catalyst. So Amazon Code Catalyst is the unified software development service that makes it faster to build and deliver software on AWS. For any software development team to provide a seamless delivery to production, the teams need to spend significant time and resources on collaborating effectively, setting up the tools that is needed, setting up the development and deployment environment that is required, and configuring the continuous integration and continuous delivery automation, isn't it? So Amazon Code Catalyst is here to enrich your development with an integrated product experience. By bringing in the tools that is needed, you can plan, code, build, test, and deploy your applications to AWS, all in one Amazon Code Catalyst integrated experience. So how would you use that? You can use Code Catalyst to browse and choose from the collection of existing blueprints, or you can create something new. So with this, you'll be able to set up CI/CD workflows to run the managed build infrastructure, or you can define the architecture and configuration of AWS services used by the project. So we say that by using Amazon Code Catalyst, you'll be able to bring in the issue tracker by default, the source control system by default. But what if you wanted to use your pre-existing GitHub, not the one which gets generated as part of Amazon Code Catalyst? Yes, you'll be able to configure it by going to use the GitHub repository that you want to integrate with this Amazon Code Catalyst. So that is pretty simple. You can also use the source control of your choice as well. So as of now, Amazon Code Catalyst is available in preview today in US-based Oregon region, and it is available only in US-based Oregon region. But you know what? You can automate the deployments to any AWS account or to any AWS region just by spinning up the Amazon Code Catalyst, which is available in US-based Oregon region. So that's about Code Catalyst. So how do you get started? So here, with respect to Code Catalyst, you'll be able to spend more time in coding and less time in managing the entire development environments. So to start fresh, what you can do is you can go ahead and use the pre-configured dev environments, which is available on demand. And you'll be able to share this environment definition with your whole team. And if you need to make any changes to this definition, that definition is available immediately to the entire team with less effort. And this dev environment will let you use your favorite IDE from any device, and you can develop from anywhere. So as of now, you can create this dev environment either from the Code Catalyst, or you can create it from any one of these favorite IDEs: AWS Cloud9, IntelliJ IDEA, Visual Studio Code, PyCharm, and Golang. So you can use any of this. And when you create the projects or the environments with Code Catalyst, you might have multiple projects, right? You'll be able to switch between the projects or repositories or branches just with one click. You might wonder, not one size that fits everybody. Each one might want to have the development environments in different size of their choice. So the dev environment here is available with 4 different compute capacity as small, medium, large, and extra large. So you are free to create something of your own choice and you will be able to use it. Okay. So here, as far as the development environments are concerned, you're not limited by the power of your personal machine, your laptop or desktop. You can launch a dev environment with the compute capacity and the memory or storage that is required for you to be more efficient and work faster. So that's about Amazon Code Catalyst. The next thing that we are going to look into is Amazon Code Whisperer. Amazon Code Whisperer is a machine learning powered service that helps you improve developer productivity by generating code recommendations based on the developer comments. All that you have to do is log into this IDE, get into this IDE, type your comments in your natural language, and the code corresponding to that IDE gets generated in the IDE itself. So all that you do is add comments in your natural language and you will see the code suggestions. These code suggestions are available both for your AWS services and as well as code. So how simple is this? When writing code, developers must keep up with multiple programming languages, frameworks, software libraries, and popular cloud services, right? So with Code Whisperer, by simply writing a command in the IDE's code editor, the Code Whisperer automatically analyzes the command and it determines us that which cloud services or the public libraries are best suited for a specified task. So you can create this code services very quickly. So that's about Code Whisperer. And one thing is, the Code Whisperer now provides AWS administrators the ability to help their organization use single sign-on authentication so that the administrators will be able to easily integrate their Code Whisperer with the existing workforce. You don't have to specify or configure any other access criteria for the corporate users. And the individuals who do not want to have AWS account can also use Code Whisperer. That's the best thing. See, because to use every other AWS service, what you'll have to do is you need to go ahead and create an AWS account and then use it. So as an exemption with Code Whisperers, what you can do is by using AWS Builder ID, you will be able to use Code Whisperer even without an AWS account. And the sign-in process takes a very few minutes and which can easily enable developers to start using Code Whisperer immediately. And you know what? The Code Whisperer, initially it was launched with specific languages. Now it has got added Python, Java, JavaScript to its list, right? So this continues. There's a small correction here. Earlier, it launched with Python, Java, and JavaScript. And now developers can use C# and TypeScript as well. And this Code Whisperer is available in multiple IDEs, similar to what we spoke about Code Catalyst, right? So here also a bunch of IDEs are available or integrated for us to use this toolkit. One is Visual Studio Code, JetBrains, AWS Cloud9, AWS Lambda. From all these IDEs, you'll be able to use Code Whisperer to develop that is required for you. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to add from Code Whisperer is I wanted to reiterate upon this, even if you do not have an AWS account or you do not want to create an AWS account, using the AWS Builder ID, you'll be able to use Code Whisperer. Okay. So now, whatever we spoke, right, the three stuffs under Builder's experience. The first one, Amazon Application Explorer, Application Composer, Code Whisperer, and Code Catalyst. All these things are in preview. Go ahead and explore and wait for GA so that we can start using the production scale. And the next, let's move on to serverless. So when we talk about serverless, the first thing that comes to our mind, even today, is AWS Lambda, isn't it? AWS Lambda is the backbone of serverless development. Since 2014, we have launched over 100 new features for Lambda. And at present, with over 1 million active customers using that, with 10 trillion requests per month, Lambda is one of the best known AWS serverless service. And today we're going to talk about one of the new feature that got added to Lambda. So we all know that Lambda provides a simple programming model, which is easy to integrate with other AWS services while being able to create apps that can quickly adapt to changing usage patterns. So in many cases, what happens is the execution of Lambda function takes milliseconds to begin. In other cases, this init phase, which we are going to look in next slide, it's going to take a little longer due to various number of reasons. And some unique cases in Java runtimes and use cases, this takes a little longer, which we call it as, or which we term it as cold start. So how do you prevent cold start is what the AWS Lambda snapshot feature is going to be. Currently, this particular feature is available for Lambda functions which are developed using Java with version corresponds to Java 11 runtime. So how this is going to work? So this cold start, when you enable for a Lambda function, it is going to reduce the initialization time by 90%. This is going to cache the Lambda function and keep it in the memory, and it is available for you to use. Remember that these cached snap starts will be removed after 14 days if it is going to be inactive. And most important thing to note here is there is no additional charge for using the Lambda snapshot. Okay, so it is basically recommended for your general purpose Lambda functions. Now we'll see life cycle of AWS Lambda snapshot. So how would you use this? When we look into it here, the first thing you see the implementation or the life cycle of a Lambda without snapshot enabled. The life cycle from init, when it is creating the execution environment, downloading the code, starting the runtime, all of this falls under AWS category of optimization. And the second category of initialization is customer optimization. For anything, there is equal responsibility that AWS owns and customer owns, right? So all of these things falls into a cold start, which takes several seconds. After that, only the Lambda handler is invoked and that does the actual functionality. Now, when the snapshot is enabled, the life cycle, what happens within the snapshot is it's going to invoke. No, when this particular snapshot is enabled, there are three things that happens within the life cycle. First thing is init, invoke, and shutdown. So what happens during this initialization phase? When the snapshot is enabled for the newer version, it's going to publish the newer version of that function. And the process will launch the function and run through the entire init phase. Remember, it's just going to launch the function, run through the entire init phase. And this particular function, which is immutable, it is encrypted and it is stored as a snapshot with the memory and the disk state for you to use. This is basically is cached for you to reuse it at a later. Now, whenever the function is invoked, this state is going to be retrieved from the cache. This completely removes where we need to go through the entire full init phase whenever it is invoked, right? So thus it solves the cold start issue. And with this functionality is now enabled for Java functions, which is going to make it 10 times faster than the regular Lambda function. That is, the init state is the init state's performance is increased by 10%, 10 times, at definitely no extra cost. Now, one thing will come to everybody's mind, right? How different is this Lambda snapshot from the provision concurrency? So we know that provision concurrency has been in use for quite some time. What is that being used for? The provision concurrency basically keeps the functions initialized and ready to respond in double-digit milliseconds. That's a key thing, right? Here, when Snapstart is enabled, it's going to help improve the startup performance by up to 100%, 100x speed at no extra cost. The one thing which you have to keep in mind is a certain feature compatibility requirement. That is, you can't use both Snapstart and provision concurrency on the same function version. That is the key requirement. So that's about AWS Snapstart lifecycle. Next thing that we are going to see is Amazon Event Bridge Pipes. A new feature of Amazon Event Bridge is that it's going to make it easier for you to build event-driven applications by providing very simple, consistent, and cost-effective way to create that point-to-point integration between the producers and consumers by completely removing the undifferentiated coding that you'll have to do. Usually when you're trying to do, you'll have to make some coding which will enable that communication between the event producers and consumers interact. So this pipes is going to take away that undifferentiated heavy lifting from your shoulders and you'll be able to do it. So when you're trying to do this, right, when you see in this diagram, you have a source, the filtering option, enrichment option, and target. The source is where the events get generated and it's coming. The source is from different means. It includes your DynamoDB, Kinesis, or SQS. And the first optional one is filtering. Here you can define the patterns, that is from what source this event can be allowed to pass through this event point. That is the first filtering option you can specify on the source side. And before it goes to the target, you might wanted to transform that event, enrich that event by using either Lambda or by stub functions or even API. You can apply that enrichment, which is also optional, before it reaches the target. So even Bridge Pipe is a cost-effective way to provide a point-to-point integration between your producer and consumer. So with Amazon Event Bridge Pipe, you can integrate supported AWS and self-managed services as event producers and event consumers into a simple, reliable, and cost-effective way. The next one, what we are going to see is distributed map for AWS step functions. So there is a new distributed map state which has been introduced that will allow you to write the step functions to coordinate between the large-scale parallel workloads with your serverless applications. So you can now iterate over millions of objects such as log files, images, CSV files that are stored in S3 bucket. So what you can do with this distributed map is the distributed map state can launch up to 10,000 parallel workflows to process the data. It's not a small number, right? You can process the data by composing any service API supported by this step functions. But typically what you will do is you'll invoke the Lambda functions to process the data with code written in your favorite programming languages. So during execution, you can also consider downstream service capabilities. That is, when you're processing a very large set that might not fit into a Lambda temporary storage and memory. So that's when you would go for using this downstream service capabilities. And you also have the flexibilities to choose which service to use. For example, in my mental model, the data scientists and data engineers, they can use AWS Glue and EMR to process large amounts of data. On the other hand, application developers will use step functions to add serverless data into their applications. So you can actually pick and choose what would best fit your need. Now, so with this, what I want to say is the step function is able to scale from zero very quickly, and it will definitely make a good fit for interactive workloads where the customers may be waiting for results. So it's the best use case and it will be very effective for interactive workloads. And the next one is Amazon App-Flow supports lots of applications right now. So we know this App-Flow is not something new. It got introduced earlier, which is available in functioning for quite some time. So this App-Flow allows customers now to realize full value of data, which is spread across enterprise SaaS applications. So it is basically a low-code, no-code solution with just, you're going to point and clicking the UI, you can make this interface up and running and serve that is needed. It acts as a better connector and to transform data or move data from your SaaS applications to any of the services. You can basically establish the connection between the application as needed. So there are 50 plus such applications or services that are getting supported as part of this launch. So what you can do is, with this, you can apply transformations such as mapping, merging, masking, filtering, and validations. And you can build your own connector as well using AWS SDK. Basically, it's easy to build to securely transfer data between your custom endpoint or your application or between your AWS cloud services. You can actually use these connectors to transfer data or exchange data between the cloud services to and from AWS or the applications hosted on AWS in different ways. So what you see on the screen is the whole bunch of support that got newly introduced. If you see marketing connectors, it is available for Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, all of that. And when we are working in a corporate world, we tend to use a lot of meeting options. Could be the Teams or your Zoom meetings, all of that. So name it any stream. So you have these connectors available now with this Amazon Airflow. So now we have gone through builders experience and we have seen these launches or the new features that got launched as part of serverless. And now we are moving to the third section that I wanted to discuss. So in the third section, it's DevOps, my favorite too. So we are going to see what are the new launches in DevOps. So in this section, we are going to explain the launches that covers resiliency, deployments, and observability. The first and foremost is AWS Amazon ECS Service Connect. So monolithic to microservices, it has been a story of discussion everywhere and anywhere, right? The microservices architecture are well-known software development approach, which is composed of small independent services that communicate over well-defined APIs. So what happens here is the customers most of the time face challenges when they're trying to establish that communication or that networking between these microservices. How would you enable these microservices communicate internally with each other? That is one of the customer's challenge. So this ECS Service Connect comes in to rescue the customers from that challenge of establishing the specialized networking connection. They need not have that specialized networking knowledge to enable these microservices interact with each other. So when you say ECS Service Connect, it provides an easy network setup and a seamless communication deployed across multiple ECS clusters and VPCs. So what you can do is, with this, service. So as you see in the diagram, you have AWS Cloud Map, you have ECS cluster, and in between comes the ECS Service Connect. So with Cloud Map, you can actually use this Cloud Map as a service discovery. If you're going to use the third-party stuff, you will have to have uh, all the effort involved in dealing with the infrastructure, configuration, all of that. But when you use AWS Cloud Map, it's a managed services provided by AWS, pre-built with all the configuration and functionalities and ready to use. So with ECS Service Connect, you can refer and connect your services by using the logical names which are provided by AWS Cloud Map. These logical names are provided as namespace in the AWS Cloud Map, and these namespaces automatically distribute the traffic between the ECS tasks without deploying or configuring the additional load balancers. So that's how easily it facilitates the connection and communication between the deployed ECS tasks. And you can sometimes set the defaults for traffic resilience. You can include health checks. You can also configure for automatic retries. For example, if there is a 503 error which comes up, you can configure for automatic health checks and automatic retries when such errors, and then it moves forward, right? That's how you can define to build resiliency against this traffic. And you can also configure connection draining for your ECS services. So this is how you would use the AWS ECS Connect. And also, additionally, in AWS Console, it provides easy to use dashboards with which you can actually monitor this network traffic for your operational convenience and also for more simplified debugging. So that's about AWS ECS Service Connect. Next, we are going to talk about is Amazon RDS Blue-Green deployment. So with this RDS Blue-Green deployment, it's a new feature which comes up with Amazon Aurora with MySQL compatibility, Amazon RDS for MySQL, and Amazon RDS for MariaDB. For all these three variants, this RDS Blue-Green deployment is newly launched, and this is going to make the database update or software update much easier, safer, and simpler and faster as well. So how does this work? With very few steps, you can set up blue-green deployments to create a separate environment. What you do, the first step is you will build the staging environment. So in this staging environment, this is going to clone your production environment's primary database and also the in-region read replicas. Once you initiate this staging environment setup, the blue-green deployment automatically keeps these two environments safe by syncing both the replications, right? So whenever any update or write happens to your production environment, the write also happens to the staging environment. So now, within as fast as less than a minute, you will be able to promote this staging environment to your production environment. At this point in time, during switchover, what you would do is you're going to promote this green environment, which is your staging environment, to your production environment. So the deployment blocks writes on both blue and green environment so that the green catches with the blue, ensuring there is no data loss. So one thing what happens here is this particular blue-green deploy, it is actually helping to make your software changes. It could be your major or minor upgrade to the software or schema modifications or operating system changes or any maintenance to seamlessly apply to the staging environment without impacting your production load. Because we know that the data gets replicated both to the staging environment and production environment. There is no loss. And the switchover can happen within less than a minute. So during the switchover, the staging environment becomes your production environment and it starts working, right? So the blue-green deployment simplifies your switch or upgrade all that with a seamless effort. Okay. So now let's look into AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery, automated failback. So when we talk about this Elastic Disaster Recovery, it enables customers to use AWS as an elastic recovery site for an on-premise application without needing to invest on-premise DR infrastructure. So the most important challenge that we have in the data center world is that we have to spend lots of money in bringing in disaster recovery infrastructure, which will be used only very rarely. So this elastic disaster recovery, automated failback, or this disaster recovery setup as such, it will enable the customer that there is no need to have a specific infrastructure built and kept idle all the time on premise. And this can be done directly on cloud. It's all about that. So once you enable this DRS, disaster recovery setup, it maintains a constant replication posture for your operating system or applications or database, anything that is running on the AWS cloud. So this is not something new, this elastic disaster recovery, which is already in place. So what got introduced now is in AWS failback. So that is in a non-destructive way, how you could fail back and create an EC2 instance in a recovery mode. So if you see in this particular, this is a flow. So it installs the replication agent and the DRS, it gets failover, it is available, ready, that is as a B1. And once the recovery is initiated, the recovery instance created, this failover is complete. Now the instance is ready. Now the failback started. That is, you wanted to take this particular recovered EC2 instance and put it on the source original region and make it available and ready to serve the traffic as is. So during the process, you might create several instances in between, either as a recovery instances or recovered instances. So after all that, you will be left only with the instance that is required, and the rest all the things can be cleaned up. So it starts with the step of installing the agent, and it starts the failover process. You're going to initiate this recovery from B1. If you see, the recovered instance is B2 and the instance recovered is B3. So we are good, right? I'm repeating it. We are going to initiate the failback process. Once you initiate, this DRS A2 is ready. And this is the recovered instance. And finally, the launched one. After the one which is going to serve the traffic is launched, the rest all is cleaned up as part of the cleanup effort. So this failback is something which got newly introduced as part of AWS Reinvent 2022. So that's about disaster recovery. And as far as AWS backup is concerned, consistently new features gets introduced. And what got supported this time is backup for Amazon S3. It's in public preview. And the rest of things are GA, a support for VM workloads. You can protect and restore your CloudFormation stacks. That is a very interesting thing. So these are some of the new features which got introduced as part of AWS Backup. And the next one is CloudWatch Internet. So this is a quite interesting thing. It's a new capability of CloudWatch that gives visibility into how an internet issue might impact the performance and availability of our applications. So basically, this is not something out of the blue. Amazon have started using the existing networking footprint, what they use for their own AWS infrastructure and stuff. It has been reused for monitoring our internet uptime and availability so that we can clearly see where the issue is, right? So with this internet monitor, you can gain a complete awareness of the problems that arise on the internet experienced by the end users in different geographical locations and networks. So you'll be able to easily visualize what is happening for your customer without keeping them in dark. So this dashboard is pretty cool. So you have a monitoring dashboard. It provides a visibility whenever there is an internet issue. So all that you know is what happens within your area, right? So since AWS is pervasive across geographies with different regions and availability zones, leveraging and using their own internet and related capabilities, they're able to, or AWS is able to help us monitor how the internet issues can impact our customers globally. So this is a very interesting one. And the next one is Amazon CloudWatch logs data protection. So the data protection in Amazon CloudWatch logs is a new set of capabilities which leverages the pattern matching and machine learning capabilities to detect and protect the sensitive data which you're logging. Basically, so how do you enable that? So with this, you log into AWS Management Console, select a specific log group, for example, if you've configured a log group for your Lambda function, go to that log group. You have a new tab called Data Protection. Go and select that. Now in this tab, you're going to pick up the identifier. For example, it could be a date of birth or email address. If such information passes through this log, that gets masked. And the next one is you're going to choose your destination where this audit report has to be stored, whether it could be another CloudWatch log group, or it could be an S3 bucket, or you can even create an alarm around this metric, right? So you can configure this. So once you have configured the data, when it passes through, if it checks the email address or date of birth, it's going to mask and store it. Remember one thing, once it is masked, the downstream services that are going to consume this will not be able to fetch the unmasked information. So it doesn't mean that you cannot unmask the data, but the users with elevated privileges with an IAM policy will be able to unmask the data in the CloudWatch logs insights. So with all this, you can also have GetLog Events API configured, which can fetch you the unmasked data to be processed by the downstream events as well. So that's how you can configure and use this Amazon CloudWatch logs data protection. So the next one is Amazon S3 multi-region access point failover control. So this multi-region access point was launched in September 2021. What happens with this is it gives a global endpoint that spans S3 buckets in multiple AWS regions. So with S3 multi-region access points, you can build applications with the same simple architecture that you're using in single region by facilitating multiple regions. So how does this work? So assume you have created a S3 multi-region access point with S3 buckets in 6 different regions in Asia Pacific. It could be Tokyo, Mumbai, Singapore, all of that. So once you have configured and created this, you can go ahead and configure Tokyo as an active one serving the traffic, and the remaining as a passive multi-region access point configuration. So what got introduced now is failover. How would you failover? So once you have configured Tokyo as an active region, Singapore, Mumbai, and rest of the Asia Pacific region as a passive one, now the traffic is being served from Tokyo. So by default, the multi-region access point routes the traffic to all of the buckets, right? So now once you have configured, this will start serving to Tokyo. Now, what if there is a failure that is happening in the Tokyo region? Assume there is an unforeseen issue that Godzilla have eaten up all the underwater cables for Tokyo region. So that region is down. That's not going to serve the traffic. So you see a failover. What you will do is go to the replication tab. In the replication tab, now with this particular new feature, you have replication and failover added. So when the failover is there, what you would do is you would go ahead and configure another region, for example, Singapore as an active region and make Tokyo as passive one. So the traffic will go get served from Singapore region. Your system is up and running. Now, if the Godzilla have subdued, if it's all back in track, what you will do is you can go ahead and fail back to Tokyo. So if you see closely, this failover and failback is what got introduced as part of this AWS reInvent 2022. So that's about Amazon S3 multi-region access point failover controls. So this is available in the replication tab. Along with that replication, you see a failback thing got added. And the last one for today, what we have is Amazon Route 53 ARC zonal shift. So this zonal shift is a capability that is built into ELBs and is exposed via R53 ARC controller. So what it does basically, it allows you to shift the traffic for a particular availability zone, which might be experiencing higher latency. So with this, when you're experiencing higher latency and you wanted to move the traffic to a healthy availability zone elastic load balancer nodes. So that is what is the zonal shift is all about. It is basically we call it as a recovery oriented strategy because it's going to allow you to recover your application very quickly before even you start attempting to investigate the root cause because of the increased latency. So what is more important when there is a you're experiencing a higher latency, your intention is to serve your customer with a better experience and parallelly investigate the root cause. So this particular zonal shift provides you with that capability. Now that you have an opportunity, you'll be able to move traffic towards the healthy availability zones with increased results to the end user. Right. So this zonal shift is designed to be a temporary fix. Okay, this may not be the permanent solution, but it's a temporary fix where you can focus your investigation while your customer is not interrupted with their traffic that is needed. Okay, so with this, my sharing has come to an end where we spoke about builder's experience, serverless, and DevOps. Now all that is back to Madhu. Looking forward to be in person one day in Budapest, the majestic city with the aquatic heart. Thank you so much. Wish you all a very great learning. Thanks a lot.
Very good morning, everybody. This is Sridevi here. Super excited to be part of this event along with Madhu and Bhuvaneswari today. So I'm from Chennai and I'm part of AWS User Group Chennai. I work for Fidelity Investments as Director of Software Engineering. I'm part of Center of Excellence team within Fidelity. I have close to 2 decades of IT experience and have been working on AWS technologies for the past 7 years. So as part of my job profile, I had the opportunity to work on a lot of data migration projects and ETL projects. And I also had the opportunity to work with the AWS professional services team themselves. So I have hence got a lot of exposure towards data migration services and used to focus on data. So today I'll be covering the reInvent announcements related to data and analytics and AI ML space. So let's get started and let me share my screen. Hope you can see my screen. Just let me check. I think we are all good. Okay, so moving on to the key announcements during the reInvent on the data analytics space. At reInvent, Adam announced Amazon Data Zone, which is used to catalog and share data across the organization. So Amazon Data Zone brings together data tools and governance to provide an easy way to organize and discover data across the organization. So we can use Amazon Data Zone to share, search, and discover data at scale across organizational boundaries. So if you have a requirement to collaborate on data projects through a unified data analytics portal that gives you a personalized view of all your data, then Amazon Data Zone could be your option. This is announced in preview launch. So to provide that visibility and access for data across organizational boundaries, Amazon Data Zone creates a usage flywheel by data producers who are typically data engineers, data scientists, etc., who share data securely, and the data consumers, the analysts, who find answers to business questions from the data and then share it with others in the organization. Amazon Data Zone improves operational efficiency of business and data teams to work with data faster, gain insights, and make informed decisions rooted in the truth of your data. Amazon Data Zone also unlocks data access for business users, giving you the competitive edge to turn data into organizational asset and making it accessible to everyone in the organization. I'm looking forward to do a POC on Amazon Data Zone. So once we get the preview access, should explore a lot. Another common problem that companies across a variety of industries, including financial services, healthcare, and advertising faces collaborating on shared data sets while still protecting the underlying raw data. Companies need a way to collaborate with their partners while improving data security and better protecting the underlying data. But the mechanisms that have existed in order to leverage data in combination with partners can be at odds with better protecting data. Sometimes these mechanisms have required company to provide a copy of their data to the partners and rely on contractual agreements to prevent misuse. But customers always wanted to limit data movement as much as possible in order to protect the data, prevent misuse, and avoid risks to leakage. As a result, they often choose not to collaborate and miss opportunities to improve on key business outcomes. So what is the ask? So how can AWS enable mechanisms for the customers to match, analyze, and collaborate on their data on AWS with their partners on AWS in a way that does not require the customers to move, share, or reveal raw data? The solution for this is AWS Clean Rooms. AWS Clean Rooms helps advertising financial data, financial services, and healthcare companies to easily and securely match, analyze, and collaborate on their combined data sets without sharing or revealing underlying data. With AWS Clean Rooms, customers can create secure data clean room in minutes and collaborate with any other company on the AWS cloud to generate unique insights about advertising campaigns, investment decisions, and research and development. So what are the key benefits and features? So create your own clean room, add participant, and start collaborating in few clicks. Collaborate with hundreds of thousands of companies on AWS without sharing or revealing your underlying data. Protect underlying data with a broad set of privacy-enhancing controls for clean rooms. Use flexible, easy to configure analysis rules to tailor queries to your specific business needs. So AWS Clean Rooms will be available in early 2023 in selected regions. What is the next key announcement? It is related to Amazon OpenSearch. So Amazon OpenSearch service now offers a new serverless option, Amazon OpenSearch Serverless. So this option simplifies the process of running petabyte scale search and analytics workload without having to configure, manage, or scale OpenSearch clusters. So OpenSearch Serverless automatically provisions and scales the underlying resources to deliver faster data ingestion and query responses for even the most demanding and unpredictable workloads. With OpenSearch Serverless, you only pay for the resources consumed. OpenSearch Serverless decomposes compute and storage and separates the indexing from the search components. So this is using Amazon S3 as the primary data storage for index. So with this decoupled architecture, OpenSearch Serverless can scale search and indexing functions independently of each other and independently of the indexed data in Amazon S3. For example, when an application monitoring workload receives a sudden burst of logging activities during an availability event, OpenSearch Serverless instantly scales the resources to ingest and store the data without impacting the query response times. To get started on OpenSearch Serverless, developers can create new collections, a logical grouping of indexed data that works together to provide a workload. So it supports the same ingest and query APIs as OpenSearch, so you can get started in seconds with your existing clients and applications. And you can use the data visualizations with serverless OpenSearch dashboards as well. So if you are already using OpenSearch service, then OpenSearch Serverless is going to be very easy for you to adopt and expand on top of it. So what are the new announcements on AWS Glue? So with AWS Glue 4.0, you have access to latest Spark and Python releases. So builders can develop, run, and scale their data integration workloads and get insights faster. AWS Data Quality provides automatic data quality rule recommendations based on your data. AWS Glue now supports data integration with Ray.io, which is a popular open source compute framework that helps you scale Python workloads. AWS Glue for Apache Spark now supports 3 open source data lake storage frameworks: Apache Hudi, Apache Iceberg, and Linux Foundation Delta Lake. So I have to analyze this again because we tried doing it manually sometimes back, and if Apache Hudi is by default supported, then that is going to add a lot more value to CDC processing. With AWS Glue Custom Visual Transform, you can create and share your custom ETL logic, input rules, etc. on Studio. It is available on Transform tab of Glue Studio. Master Administrator in Glue Studio can improve efficiency for other workers using this feature. I love this announcement the most. So it is Amazon Athena for Apache Spark. So to perform more complex data analysis such as regression test and time series forecasting, organizations across industries are adopting Apache Spark, which allows them to build distributed applications using expressive languages such as Python. However, in implementing Apache Spark, customers find that they may need to configure and manage separate infrastructure and worry about managing cost. Customers find that they have to either over-provision the resources for quicker application startup or under-provision and suffer slow application starts in order of minutes. AWS has announced the general availability of Amazon Athena for Apache Spark, a new Athena feature that enables you to run Spark interactive analytics quicker than ever before. And this, you need not provision, plan, or manage any service. With Amazon Athena for Apache Spark, interactive Spark applications start under a second and run faster with their optimized Spark runtime. Athena enables you to build Apache Spark applications using Python with a simplified notebook experience in Athena console or through APIs. Athena is deeply integrated with other AWS services, enabling you to query from various sources, chain multiple calculations together, and visualize the results of your analysis. With Athena, there are no servers to manage, no minimum fee or setup cost. You only pay for the queries you run. So as Apache Spark workloads are becoming increasingly popular for big data processing and ML workloads, customers are requiring easier ways to integrate Apache Spark with Amazon Redshift. So AWS has introduced Amazon Redshift integration for Apache Spark. So this is a way to simplify and speed up Apache Spark application accessing Amazon Redshift data from AWS services such as EMR, Glue, etc. There is no manual setup or maintenance required for setting up Spark connectors. They have also improved performance with predicate pushdowns that enables faster reads on Redshift data. So I see a lot of announcements on Spark. I myself is a Spark certified developer. So I'm looking to explore all of these features and see how it impacts the other business cases that we are already doing on some of the in some of the accounts. AWS have introduced a Redshift streaming ingestion as a way to ingest streaming data into your warehouse for real-time analytics use case. For customers that have multiple data sources that stream data to get real-time insights, AWS enabled integration using Kinesis data streams and also managed streaming for Apache Kafka, which is MSK. Both common streaming engines without creating a staging environment in S3 directly ingesting data into Redshift. So Redshift streaming is generally available as of December 2022. One interesting example is Adobe, as Adobe has integrated Redshift streaming ingestion as part of their Adobe Experience program. Staying competitive in business relies on having latest insights based on the most recent data. Before you can run effective analytics program, you need to make sure all your necessary data is in your data warehouse. At Amazon Redshift, they always wanted to make loading data into your data warehouse very simple. That's why they've announced new data loader integration with Informatica. This feature is now GA to allow customers to run high-speed, high-volume data loading to Amazon Redshift. You simply select the Amazon Data Loader option from the Redshift console navigation menu, and this integration will allow data engineers to upload practically any data in any format and at any volume. Next important announcement is on dynamic data masking. It is a new feature for customers that want to protect sensitive data by managing data masking policies through an SQL interface. Users can modify sensitive or PII-based data based on role or access-based control. Masking can be full or partial based on requirements, where masking can also apply to all the cell level based on specific conditions. Customers want to protect sensitive data based on their job role, permission rights, and level of data sensitivity. Today, customers potentially need to either acquire third-party solutions or program their own masking routines. They want to customize how they mask data with fine-grained policies. Amazon Redshift will enable dynamic data masking, where customers can easily protect their sensitive data based on their job role, permission rights, and level of data sensitivity. Masking is configurable through a set of policies with an easy SQL interface, and customers can request different levels of permission with role-based access control. What are the customer pain points? Customers have a strong demand for native data masking capabilities. Currently, customers potentially need to either acquire a third-party solution or program their own masking routines. Customers want to customize the way how to mask data and want to define fine-grained masking policies. So for customers that want to ingest data from their Amazon S3 bucket, copy statements are a simple way to ingest data into Redshift. For customers that want to automate this process, AWS has introduced a support for autocopy from Amazon S3. This is a new capability that helps simple data ingestion pipelines from Amazon S3 into Amazon Redshift tables. This eliminates the need for manually and repeatedly running copy procedures. With a low-code approach using copy statement, customers without data pipeline experience can benefit from automating file ingestion and taking care of continuous data loading steps under the hood. Autocopy is a new capability of Amazon Redshift that helps customers to set up simple data ingestion pipelines from Amazon S3 into Amazon Redshift tables. It also improves the agility of self-service analytics use cases by providing line of business users and data analysts an easy and familiar method to automate data loading without relying on data engineering resources. Redshift also started supporting large JSON object up to 16 MB, which was earlier 1 MB, and it also started supporting multi-AZ deployment. Amazon Aurora now supports zero ETL integration with Amazon Redshift. This is to enable near real-time analytics and machine learning using Amazon Redshift on petabytes of transactional data from Aurora. Within seconds of transactional data being written into Aurora, the data is available in Redshift so that you don't have to maintain complex data pipelines to perform ETL operations. I did this once where we had to pull data from Aurora into Redshift. So there is a bit complex process that you have to configure for the data to be federated into Redshift. And now with the zero ETL, I think it is going to be a lot more simpler. The zero ETL integration also enables you to analyze data from multiple Aurora database clusters in the same or existing Amazon Redshift instance to derive holistic insights across many applications or partitions. With near real-time access to transactional data, you can leverage Amazon Redshift's analytics and capabilities such as built-in ML, materialized views, data sharing, and federated access to multiple data sources and data lakes to derive insights from transactional and other data. Amazon Aurora Zero ETL integration with Redshift is now available in limited and is limited in US East 1 for now. As we see more and more customers using data sharing, especially in large-scale environments with multiple producer and consumer clusters, customers are looking ways to centrally manage data across all data shares. AWS announced the preview of data sharing central access control with AWS Lake Formation. This integration enables Lake Formation to centrally manage granular access to data across all consuming services using row level and column level permissions on your data shares. So there is no manual scripting or complex querying required for this configuration. Without a centralized governance tool, it is time consuming and challenging for customers to provide the data consumers with the right level of access specific to the data set. To accomplish this, customers have to engage in heavy lifting like manual scripts or investing in individual data clusters to figure out which customer have access to what data. Customers find Amazon Redshift data sharing across regions and across accounts highly valuable to share and work on consistent data. However, administrators want to enforce granular access to different users. Data administrators wanted a way to centrally govern their data and manage levels of privileges of different user roles using AWS Lake Formation. Hence, AWS is launching a new feature, AWS Redshift Data Sharing, which enables Redshift customers to centrally manage access to their Redshift data stores with AWS Lake Formation. Customers can now view, modify, and audit permission to the Redshift data shares via Lake Formation console. This feature also improves the security of your data by enabling admins to provide granular row-level access to data shares within Lake Formation. So next, we'll move on to the updates on the QuickSight. So QuickSight had a couple of updates. The first one is paginated reports. So what is paginated report? Paginated reports are essential documents that contain critical business information for end users. Paginated reports contain various highly formatted insights and are designed to be printable in landscape or portrait orientation. It is called paginated because it often spans tens of hundreds of pages of data. Amazon QuickSight paginated report allows customers to create, schedule, share highly formatted multi-page reports and schedule data exports at scale using QuickSight's serverless architecture. What are the features of QuickSight paginated reports? It is a multi-page report. You can add headers and footers to the reports. Delivery can be scheduled and exported to CSV, and you can access report snapshots on demand. Automated data prep for QuickSight Q is a new ML-powered semantic inference capability in Amazon QuickSight Q. This automatically infers semantic information about data and adds it to dataset, making it faster for customers to prepare data to support natural language questions. This feature uses pre-trained ML models and signals from existing QuickSight assets such as dashboards and reports to add English language labels and pre-configure related metadata within minutes, making it easy for customers to augment existing dashboards with natural language search. So why is this important to our customers? Currently, manual effort is required to understand and rename fields for natural language consumption. Data authors had to translate fields in dashboards for data readers, taking time and resources for data prep. So what are the key features? Fields are renamed and synonyms are added, reducing the manual effort. Authors can easily augment existing dashboard with natural language search. Automated data prep for Amazon QuickSight Q reduces data prep time. And with this new feature, BI team no longer have to manually label business terms in each new data set. And again, on pricing, there are no pricing implications. It is a new feature to Amazon QuickSight Q. The new Amazon QuickSight feature also expands API capabilities, allowing customers to programmatically manage their QuickSight assets. Developers can now version control, backup, and deploy assets programmatically, thereby promoting faster changes that enable innovation in a competitive marketplace. This feature also accelerates migration from legacy BI tools to the cloud, supported by migration partners. So why is this important to our customers? With the new Amazon QuickSight feature that expands API capabilities, customers can programmatically manage their QuickSight assets in their DevOps pipeline and manage BI assets just like software code, thereby promoting faster changes that enables innovation at a faster pace. So what are the features? So faster deployment, enabling faster changes, accelerated migration to the cloud. And with the launch of API capabilities, we are giving customers access to the underlying data models of BI assets, enabling developers to create, edit, version control, backup, and deploy BI assets programmatically. This new QuickSight feature expands API capabilities, takes speed, and eases a step further, enabling faster deployments. This is available to all QuickSight Enterprise Edition customers as of today, and it is free of charge. So there are few optimizations on Amazon RDS. So Amazon RDS optimized reads achieve faster query processing by placing temporary tables generated by MySQL on NVMe-based SSD block storage that is physically connected to the host server. Queries that use temporary tables, such as those having sorts, hash, high-low joins, and CTEs, can execute up to 50% faster with optimized reads. Amazon RDS optimized writes will deliver an improvement of up to 2x in write transaction throughput at no extra charge, and with the same level of provisioned IOPS. Optimized writes are a great fit for write-heavy workloads that generates a lot of concurrent transactions. This includes digital payments, financial trading platforms, and online games. So how does it work? So what are the changes made to optimized reads? So optimized reads offload the operations on temporary objects from EBS to the instance store attached to the instances. As a result, EBM's volumes can be more effectively utilized for reads and writes on persistent data, as well as on background operations such as flushes, insert buffer merges, and etc. This increased efficiency has led to a lot of beneficial performance in certain use cases like analytical queries that include CTE, derived tables, and grouping operations, read replica that handle the unoptimized queries of an application, on-demand or dynamic reporting queries, and other workloads that use internal temporary tables. You can monitor MySQL status variable, create temp disk table to observe the rate of creation for temporary tables. So there are a lot of performance optimizations done on RDS. So it is time to benchmark our tables and see how these improvements are affecting our business needs. Apart from the current support for streaming delivery destinations like S3, Redshift, etc., Amazon Kinesis Data Firehouse now supports Amazon OpenSearch Serverless as a stream delivery destination. So if you are using OpenSearch, then OpenSearch Serverless is also another option that you can consider when you are streaming your data to Kinesis Data Firehouse. Amazon Document DB with MongoDB compatibility is a scalable, highly durable, and fully managed database service for operating mission-critical JSON workloads. It is one of the AWS fastest growing services with customers including BBC, Dow Jones, and Samsung, relying on Amazon Document DB to run their JSON workloads at scale. It flexibly scales to store petabytes of data and handle millions of read or write requests per second. Infrastructure is fully managed by AWS, no instance creation or scaling operation required, and it provides availability across 3 AZs with data replicated to 6 locations across 3 AZs for high durability. So if you are using Postgres, now there are additional trust language extension for PostgreSQL. So you can now use JavaScript, Perl, and PG or PG-SQL for your Postgres. For AWS Data Exchange subscribers, now will have direct access to the data provider's S3 buckets or lake formation catalog. They need not create an S3 or other storage locations to copy and update their data, which is going to reduce their resource cost and reduce their AWS billing as well. With this announcement, we come to end of data and analytics service related announcements that was done in the reInvent. Yeah. Moving on to AI/ML announcements of the reInvent 2022. The first announcement was the introduction of next generation of Amazon SageMaker notebooks. This is to increase efficiency across ML development workflow. You can now improve data quality in minutes with the built-in data preparation capability, edit the same notebook with your teams in real time, and automatically convert notebook code to production-ready jobs. So what is simplified data preparation? The new inbuilt data preparation capability is powered by Amazon Data Wrangler and is available in SageMaker Studio notebooks. SageMaker Studio notebooks automatically generate key visualization on top of Pandas data frames to help you understand data distribution and identify data quality issues like missing values, invalid data, and outliers. You can also select the target column for the ML models and generate ML-specific insights such as imbalanced class or high correlation columns. You can then receive recommendations for data transformations to resolve the issues. You can apply data transformation right in the UI and the SageMaker Studio notebooks automatically, generating the corresponding transformation code in the notebook cells. The next feature of SageMaker notebook is real-time collaboration. So SageMaker Studio now offers shared spaces that give data science and ML teams a workspace where they can read, edit, and run notebooks together in real time to streamline collaboration and communication during the development process. So I hope you saw that video on the screen where we have two developers collaborating with each other and developing it. So new notebook capability to automatically convert notebook code to production-ready jobs. You can now select a notebook and automate it as a job that can run in a production environment without the need to manage the underlying infrastructure. When you create a SageMaker notebook job, SageMaker Studio takes a snapshot of the entire notebook, packages its dependencies in a container, builds the infrastructure, and runs the notebook as an automated job on a scheduler you define. And it also deprovisions the infrastructure upon job completion. I think this is a very important feature that has to be explored. If you are already using SageMaker for data conversion, you can just go ahead and look at this new notebook feature and see how you can leverage it for your business. The next announcement is Geospatial ML with SageMaker. We all use maps every day to find our favorite restaurant or travel the fastest route using geospatial data. There are two types of geospatial data. Vector data that uses two-dimensional geometries, such as a building location, roads, and land boundaries, and raster data such as satellite and aerial images. Last year, AWS introduced AWS Location Service, which makes it easy for developers to add location functionality to their application. With the Amazon Location Service, you can visualize a map, search points of interest, optimize delivery routes, track asserts, and use geofencing to detect entry and exit events in your defined geographical boundary. However, if you want to make predictions from geospatial data using ML, there are a lot of challenges that include acquiring and accessing high-quality geospatial data sets, preparing massive geospatial data. Specialized tools are required to visualize geospatial data. So Amazon SageMaker's new geospatial capability makes it easy to build, train, and deploy ML models using geospatial data. This collection of features offers pre-trained deep neural network models and geospatial operators that makes it easy to access and prepare large geospatial data set. All generated predictions can be visualized and explored on the map. From a use case perspective, this is used for informed trading strategies, monitor financial assets globally, forecast market commodity prices, enhance your hedging or trading strategies, and mitigate the impact of price volatility. So the next announcement is related to Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler. You can now aggregate external SaaS application data for ML in Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler to prepare data for ML. So with this feature, you can use more than 40 SaaS applications as data source via Amazon AppFlow and have this data available on Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler. Once the sources are registered in AWS Glue Data Catalog by AppFlow, you can browse tables and schema from these data sources using Data Wrangler SQL Explorer. This feature provides seamless data integration between SaaS application and SageMaker Data Wrangler using Amazon AppFlow. This new feature of Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler works by using integration with Amazon AppFlow, a fully managed integration service that enables you to securely exchange data between SaaS application and AWS services. With Amazon AppFlow, you can establish bidirectional transactional integration, data integration between SaaS applications such as Salesforce, SAP, and Amplitude, and all supported service into your Amazon S3 or Redshift. So real-time batch behavior in Data Wrangler. The main objective of SageMaker Data Wrangler is to make it easy to do data preparation and data processing workloads. With SageMaker Data Wrangler, customers can simplify the process of data preparation and all of the necessary steps of data preparation workflow on a single visual interface. SageMaker Data Wrangler reduces the time to rapidly prototype and deploy data processing workloads to production, so customers can easily integrate with MLOps production integrations. However, the transformation applied to the customer data for model training needs to be applied to new data during real-time inference. Without support for SageMaker Data Wrangler in real-time interface endpoint, customer need to write code that replicate the transformation from the flow in a pre-processing script. You can now deploy data preparation flows from SageMaker Data Wrangler for real-time and batch interface. This feature allows you to reuse data transformation flow, which you created in SageMaker Data Wrangler as a step in Amazon SageMaker inference pipelines. That's a good announcement, actually, if you because Data Wrangler is supporting real-time and batch inference, it is going to speed up your production deployment because there is no need to repeat the implementation of the data transformation flow. Quickly auditing and troubleshooting performance for all models, endpoints, and model monitoring jobs through one pane is very important aspect of your governance. It helps create a single source of truth for model information by centralizing and standardizing documentation throughout the model lifecycle. It also tracks deviation from expected model behavior and missing or inactive monitoring jobs with automated alerts. These are the features of new governance model of Amazon SageMaker. There are different roles defined, and what are the use cases? It is used for streamlining model documentation with SageMaker model cards. You can auto-populate training details to accelerate the documentation process. You can attach model evaluation results and provide visualizations. You can export your model cards to a PDF format. Get unified model monitoring with SageMaker model dashboard. You can stay informed of changes in model behavior through a single view. You can set up and receive alerts for deviations in model behavior. You can drill deeper into individual models to troubleshoot violations. What are the new features of Amazon SageMaker? As you move your ML workloads into production, you need to continuously monitor your deploy models and iterate when you observe a deviation in your model performance. When you build a new model, you typically start validating the model offline using historical inference request data. But this data sometimes fails to account for current real-world condition. Deploying a model in shadow mode lets you conduct a more holistic test by routing a copy of the live inference request for a production model to the new shadow model. Yet, only the response from the production model are returned to the calling application. Shadow testing helps you build further confidence in your model, and catch potential configuration errors and performance issues. Once you complete your shadow test, you can deploy. You can use deployment guardrails for SageMaker inference endpoints to safely update your model in production. Amazon SageMaker Jumpstart is a machine learning hub that can help you accelerate your ML journey. So it gives you access to built-in algorithms with pre-trained models from a popular model hubs. You can now share ML artifacts such as model notebooks more easily with other users that share your AWS account using AWS Jumpstart. A new Analyze Lending API for analyzing and classifying the documents contained in a mortgage loan application packages and extracting the data they contain is available for Amazon Textract. This new API was created in response to requests from major lenders in the industry to help them process application faster and reduce errors, which improves the end customer experience and lower operating cost. Until now, classification and extraction of data from mortgage loan application packages have been human-intensive tasks, although some lenders have used hybrid approach using technologies such as Amazon Textract. However, a customer told Amazon that they needed an even greater workflow automation to speed up automation efforts and reduce human error so that their staff could focus on some higher value tasks. The new API also provides additional value-add service. It is able to perform signature detection in terms of which documents have signatures and which don't. It also provides a summary output of the document in a mortgage application package and identifies the select important documentation such as bank statements and 1003 forms that would normally be present. The new API is available in all regions where Amazon Textract is offered, but do be aware that the workflow and processing are focused on US-centric documents. IDP, which is Intelligent Document Processing feature that allows you to classify and extract entities from PDF documents, Microsoft Word files, and images directly from Amazon Comprehend without you needing to extract the text first. Many customers need to process documents that have semi-structured format, like images of receipts that were scanned or tax statements in PDF format. Until today, those customers first needed to pre-process the documents using optical character recognition tools to extract the text. Then they could use Amazon Comprehend to classify and extract entities from the pre-processed files. Now with Amazon Comprehend for IDP, you can process the semi-structured documents such as PDF, doc, PNG, TIFF files, as well as plain text documents with a single API call. So this feature combines OCR and Amazon Comprehend's existing NLP capabilities to classify and extract entities from the documents. The custom document classification API allows you to organize documents into categories or classes, and the custom named entity recognition API allows you to extract entities from documents like product codes or business-specific entities. So Amazon Comprehend for IDP APIs are available for real-time inferencing of files as well as asynchronous batch processing. An insurance company can now process scanned customer claims with fewer API calls using Amazon Entity Recognition API. They can extract the customer number from the claims form and use the customer classifier API to sort claim into different insurance categories like home, car, personal, etc. So the next announcement is related to Amazon Kendra. So Amazon Kendra is an intelligent search service powered by machine learning that enables organizations to provide more relevant information to customers and employees when they need it. Tabular search allows customers to search more intuitively and effectively through tables embedded in HTML pages. With Kendra's tabular search for HTML, customers can ask questions like what is the APR on the business credit card or what is the credit card with the lowest annual fee, where the answers are contained in a credit card comparison table on a marketing web page. Tabular search works out of the box on a wide range of HTML table formats and domains, and no setup or configuration is required. Amazon Kendra now supports semantic search for 7 new languages. In addition to English, Kendra now supports Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. Customers with content in those languages can now benefit from the full range of semantic features in Kendra, including FAQ matching, document ranking, and question answering. No setup or configuration is required. The new language capabilities are enabled by default for customers, and it can be of use immediately. The last announcement on ML is on AWS AI Service Cards. It is to provide information on AWS AI Service as responsible AI. It provides documentation of expected use cases, limitation, design guidelines for responsible AI, and the best practices for user operation. Recognition face matching, extract analyze ID, and transcribe batch are the initial targets and will be expanded based on the customer feedback. With this, we come to the end of AI/ML and the data analytics announcements in the reInvent 2022. Thank you and have a very good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Bhuvana and Sridevi. That was brilliant insights from you guys. So now I'm going to talk about compute, storage, networking, security and compliance, and others. So let's jump in. So let's take the topic of compute. The first one is AWS Nitro version 5. As you know, AWS has been working on Nitro for over a decade, and they aren't done. So at reInvent, Peter announced the Nitro version 5, twice the transistors, which means twice computational power and 50% more speed. It means 60% higher packet per second with 30% reduced latency and 40% higher performance per watt, which means reduced overall power. So it's more like, going green and sustainability. Those aspects are also considered, and at the same time they haven't compromised with the performance as well. So Nitro is the reason that AWS got started building custom chips, and it remains one of the most important reasons why EC2 provides differentiated performance and security. So ever new instance introduced since 2014, it built on the Nitro system. Nitro helps basically to build a secure the EC2 instances and improve the network and storage performance, and allows all the server resources to basically devoted to customer workloads. So Nitro is not a new story, as you all know. They have been working on Nitro for, I think, a better part of a decade. And today, I think, in reInvent, they're excited to introduce the latest generation of their Nitro chip, which is Nitro version 5 chip. And this new Nitro chip continues the tradition of delivering significantly improved performance. It has twice the amount of transistors as the previous generation Nitro chip. You can imagine, so 50% more memory bandwidth, and a PSIe adapter that provides about twice the bandwidth. So it's very powerful. So all this means it's able to support 60% higher packets per second and 30% reduction in the packet latency, all while reducing overall power. And another version is C7GN instances, which are again powered by AWS Graviton 3 processors and the latest generation Nitro V5 cards. C7GN instances offer up to 200 gigabits per second of network bandwidth and up to 50% higher packet processing performance than the existing Graviton-based EC2 instances. These new instances are ideal for running the most demanding network-intensive workloads, such as network virtual appliances and data analytics, yeah, CPU-based artificial intelligence and machine learning interference. The CNGN instances will be available in multiple sizes with up to 64 vCPUs, 128 gigabit of memory, yeah, and they're also launching the preview reinvent, and people can sign up and join in. So customer will need to specify specific instant type and region as part of the preview sign up. Yeah, there are already some blogs about this. So basically, yeah, you can fetch some more information about this preview. And what else we have? So again, 3 instance HPC 7G. So HPC workloads like those found in weather forecasting, life sciences, and industrial engineering are not usual workloads, and many of them do not do a lot of floating point and vector mass than normal applications. Like the C and C7GN instances available for preview, and HPC 7G instances. These instances are built on Graviton 3E platform, a variant of Graviton 3 that is specifically optimized to do more floating point and vector match. With the combined power of Nitro V5 chip and the compute performance of Graviton 3E, AWS over even better price performance combined with the leading energy efficiency. And compared to Graviton 3 based instance, it is 35% higher performing on HPL, a computational benchmark for linear algebra. 12% better on GROMACS, which is also a molecular modeling library, and 30% better on common financial options, more option models. Yeah, I mean, if you don't understand this kind of heavy jargon you have used, it's basically for heavy computational workloads, and these Graviton models and the new chip that supports that kind of model as well. So stay tuned. There will be more information on this instance in early Q1 this year. So just yeah, follow the news, AWS news blogs on that. And the next one is the EC2 HPC 6 ID instances. So basically, these instances are optimized to efficiently run memory bandwidth bound and data intensive high performance computing, HPC, high performance computing workloads, such as finite element analysis, seismic reservoir simulations. Yeah, with CC2 HPC 6 ID instances, you can lower the cost of your HPC workloads while taking advantage of the elasticity and scalability of AWS. So why is this important for AWS customers? For specialist workloads running very high performance, these instances are more efficient and therefore cost effective and can perform better. HPC 6 ID instances are optimized to deliver capabilities suited for memory bound, data intensive, high performance computing workloads. Yeah, so hyper threading is disabled to increase per vCPU CPU throughput and up to 5 gigabits per second, and memory bandwidth per vCPU. These instances deliver 200 gigabits network bandwidth optimized for traffic between instances in the same virtual private cloud VPC, and support elastic fabric adapter EFA for increased network performance. To optimize HPC 6 ID instances networking for tightly coupled workloads, you can access EC2 HPC 6 ID instances in a single availability zone in each region. So these instances are available in regions where it's US East, Ohio, and US GovCloud, US West currently. So to optimize EC2 HPC 6 ID instances networking for tightly coupled workloads, you can access EC2 HPC 6 ID instances in a single availability zone in each region. I think I just repeat there. So end users are mostly people like data scientists, researcher, engineer, kind of end users, and the target customers would be enterprise customers. Yeah, and the price point for these instances are like, for example, HPC 6ID 32X large is like $5.50 per hour on demand, and no smaller instance sizes are available for this. As you can imagine, they are very highly performed instances. Okay, and the next one is then is EC2 INF2, and these are basically designed to deliver high performance at lower cost in EC2 for the most demanding deep learning DL interference applications. And also INF2 instances are powered by up to 12 AWS Inferentia 2, the third AWS designed DL accelerator, and also these instances offer 3 times higher compute performance, up to 4 times higher throughput, and up to 10 times lower latency compared to the previous generation INF1 instances. So yeah, they're really powerful than the old generation. You can use these instances, INF2 instances, to run DL applications, deep learning, for natural language understanding, translation, yeah, video and image generation, for the speech recognition, personalization, and more. When we talk about natural language understanding, this is mainly on, I don't know, ChatGPT and those kind of, they need very high powerful compute power to run on, and yeah, that's just an example. They are optimized to deploy complex models such as large language models, LLM, and vision transformers at scale, while also improving the INF1 instances price performance benefits for smaller models. To support ultra large, like 100 by B plus parameter models, to be honest, I don't know what that indicates, but yeah, it seems like very powerful models to support. INF2 instances are first interference optimized instances in Amazon EC2 to support scale out distributed interference, inference, and ultra high speed connectivity between accelerators. INF2 instances offer up to 2.3 petaflops of DL performance, up to 384 gigabits of accelerator memory with 9.8 terabytes per second bandwidth. So that's like a huge. And neuron link and intra instance ultra high speed non-blocking interconnected. Yeah, INF instance also offers 50% better performance per watt compared to GPU based instances in Amazon EC2, and also help you meet your sustainability goals. So as I mentioned earlier, so AWS is moving towards more of sustainability goals where to support majority of the customers. So this is one aspect that can help you if you have any sustainability goals in your organization. So the AWS Neuron SDK is natively integrated with popular ML frameworks such as PyTorch, TensorFlow. You can also deploy your DL applications on INF2 with just a few lines of code. So that's pretty useful. Yeah, and what else it does? It basically designs deliver high performance at the very lowest cost in EC2, Amazon EC2, for most demanding deep learning interference applications. And it also powered by up to 12 Amazon Inferentia 2, the third AWS designed DL accelerator. Yeah, and it also have, yeah, its extended network version is up to AWS Trinium share for machine learning, so it's highly supportive in those machine learning models. Okay, yeah, the next aspect here is basically EC2 R7 IZ or IZ, based on where you are from. Memory optimized instances with high clock frequency CPUs. Yeah, so and it's just powered by fourth generation Intel Xeon scalable processors. So yeah, running up to 3.9 gigahertz with all cores turbo, up to 128 vCPUs, and yeah, 1024 gigabits of memory. And up to 50 gigabits per second network bandwidth, 40 gigabits per second EBS bandwidth. So it's really high performance, instances you can imagine. So highest performance of any x86 based instance, up to 20% faster than the Z1D instances. Okay, then we have this M6 in, M6 in, R6 in, and R6 in. So these are basically general purpose memory optimized instances with high clock frequency CPUs and high network performance. So basically three, they have like third generation Intel Xeon scalable processor running at 3.5 gigahertz with all cores turbo, up to 200 gigabits network bandwidth, up to 8 gigabits per second EBS bandwidth, and up to 128 vCPUs and 512 gigabits of memory for M6 in and M6 IDN. So yeah, these are pretty powerful machines, to be honest. So, and then we come to Microsoft EC2, EC2 Microsoft Office AMI. So here the concept is basically AWS, Microsoft license or Office LTSC Professional Plus 2021 fully compliant AMI provided. So which means you can build your EC2 using this AMI, and you have Microsoft Office, and also you have RDS subscriber access license, and this is basically monthly per user, not daily. So that's a new thing, and also EC2 license included for Windows Server instances per vCPU as well. So AWS Compute Optimizer, external metrics support. This is basically now supports the metrics captured by the partner solutions, and when calculating the sizing recommendations. So all the memory metrics can now be obtained from Datadog, Dynatrace, any logging, central logging tool you're using, Neural Lake Instant, in addition to CloudWatch. So, and this also enables you more cost optimized proposals in combination with other factors such as CPU. AWS Nitro Enclaves EKS K8 support. So Nitro Enclaves can now be controlled from Amazon EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and Kubernetes Pods. So this is really good, because if your workload supports in running in Kubernetes and EKS needs, Nitro Enclaves, supposedly you can invoke them, you can use them. So previously you had to write your own code, but now you can deploy and easily manage them as Kubernetes pods with the Nitro Enclaves Kubernetes device plugin. So this is really handy. Now let's go to Amazon EC2 tone write prevention. Tone write prevention is basically a feature that makes writes to storage transactional and prevents the creation of halfway states, guaranteeing integrity for writes up to 16 kilobytes of blocks, 16 KB blocks. If you're running a database such as MySQL or MariaDB, you can disable double writes, up to 30% performance improvement without sacrificing endurance, and available for instant storage for I4I instances and EBS for Nitro-based instances. RDS is also available in the form of optimized write. So that's useful. And that's about compute. I know there's a lot of things going on numbers and metrics. I hope you appreciate that. So if you want more details on learning how if you have real needs on data, like heavy mission models, heavy if you're using a lot of natural language processing stuff like that, so please refer to the blogs. I will provide you at the end of these sessions, so you will get more information on that. So now let's jump into storage. So we have a lot of things going on in storage. They announced a lot of stuff in reInvent. So one of the aspects is EFS, so Elastic file storage or Elastic File Service. And here what is new about it? So Elastic Throughput. So the new throughput model ideally for spiky and unpredictable workloads with performance requirement difficult to forecast. EFS now automatically delivers the throughput performance needed while paying only for the amount of data read and written. So shared file storage that doesn't need provisioning and or your capacity management. And you also have a new lifecycle policy. It now supports a one-day lifecycle management policy, so allows you to automatically move files that haven't been accessed in one day to Amazon EFS infrequent access storage. So it will also help you to save some cost there. And on the performance side, there are a lot of nice, decent performance improvements there. So reads up to 60% lower read operational latencies when working with frequently accessed data and metadata, right? Metadata, and writes up to 40% lower write operational latencies when working with small files, which are like less than 64 KB and metadata kind of files. So yeah, this is pretty big improvement compared to the previous generation. So, and the other aspect is Amazon EBS, Elastic Block Storage. So IO2 SRD support in 2023 is SRD is a scalable, reliable datagram. SRD, AWS Network Transport Protocol is basically instead of preserving packets order, so SRD will send the packets over as many network paths as possible while avoiding overloaded paths. Lower, more consistent latency, especially in long trail areas, and higher throughput. So yeah, this is pretty helpful. Sorry. And the EBS, IO2 on SRD, scalable, reliable datagram, is basically coming in this year. All new EBS IO2 volumes will be running on SRD. Write latency up to 90% lower in a long tail areas such as P99.999, throughput up to 4 times higher throughput. So yeah, I think it's pretty decent improvements from previous previous generations. Okay, so now related to the Amazon FSx, which is basically a file share for Windows systems. So this provides fully managed, cost-effective. In FSx, they introduced open ZFS updates. These updates basically consist of providing fully cost-effective shared file storage powered by popular open ZFS file system. A new generation of file systems with performance improvements, doubles the maximum throughput and IOPS performance, and up to 10 gigabits throughput and 350,000 IOPS for both reads and writes to persistent SSD storage. So includes a high-speed NVMe cache and up to 2.5 terabytes of high-speed NVMe storage that automatically caches over most recently accessed data. So that's a lot, making the data accessible at over 1 million of IOPS and with latencies of a few hundred microseconds, so which is like very fast, and power and even a broader range of high performance workloads like media processing, rendering, financial analytics, and machine learning. sorry, with simple, high-performant NFS accessible storage. Currently, this is available in US region, so US East, Ohio, North Virginia, US West, Oregon, and in Europe it's in Ireland regions. Okay, and then the new update on NetApp ONTAP. So this is basically provides a fully managed shared storage built on NetApp, popular ONTAP file system. Throughput improvement, again, doubles maximum throughput capacity for file system from 2 gigabits per second to 4 gigabits, which is double. Double the maximum SSD IOPS from 80,000 to 160,000. So again, it's double. Accelerate your performance-intensive workloads such as video rendering and database applications. It's pretty useful for that. Easier to access multi-AZ file systems from other networks, on-premises networks, and peer networks in AWS. And it also helped create multi-AZ file systems that can be accessed from other networks. So Amazon Web Services Transit Gateway without needing to perform any additional routing configuration. So that's really handy. So specify an IP address range for endpoints used to access the and manage your data. Before, it's like endpoints could only be created outside VPC IP address range to route the traffic to these endpoints from on-prem to or other peer network. You had to create custom routes in your transit gateway, but now you have an option to create multi-AZ file systems with an IP address range that's within your VPC IP address range. Can access them from your on-prem without creating any additional routes in your transit gateway. So that's really a good improvement. So that's on the storage. Let's jump into networking. Okay. So what we got? Right. So we have Amazon VPC Lattice. What is this Lattice? It's a modern application is really built, using modular distributed components. So each component is a service that implements its own subset of functionalities. To make these services communicate with each other, we need a way to let them discover where they are, authorize access, and route traffic, kind of like a service mesh or something like that. And Amazon VPC Lattice is an application layer networking service that gives you a consistent way to connect, secure, and monitor service-to-service communication without any prior networking expertise. So with VPC Lattice, you can configure network access, traffic management, network monitoring to enable service-to-service communication consistently across VPCs and accounts in a simple and consistent way across AWS compute services, instances, containers, serverless functions. And on the connectivity side, like find and connect to services across accounts and VPCs without worrying about networking, application aware routing. So connectivity should work. Consistency across compute services. So this basically integrated with Amazon EC2, Elastic Container Store, ECS, Elastic, Amazon Lambda, and Elastic Kubernetes Service, EKS, to provide a consistent experience across instances, containers, and serverless. And when it comes to observability and traffic control, you can easily export logs, metrics to Amazon S3, simple storage service, Amazon CloudWatch, and even you can use Kinesis advanced layer 7 routing and resiliency controls. On the security, simplified access control for zero trust architectures and centralized control of inbound and outbound traffic. So Amazon is basically making available in preview on VPC Lattice currently, so it's not available on generally GA. New capability of Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Amazon VPC, that gives you a consistent way to connect, secure, monitor, communication between your services. Yeah, so with this VPC lattice, you can define policies for your traffic management network. Yeah, access, network, and land monitoring. So VPC lattice automatically handles network connectivity between VPCs and accounts, and also network address translation. So net between IPv4, IPv6, and also overlapping IP addresses. It also integrates nicely with Amazon IAM, Identity and Access Management, to give you the same authentication and authorization capability you are familiar with when interacting with AWS services today. But for your own service-to-service communication, with VPC lattice, you have common controls to route traffic based on request characteristics and weighted routing for blue-green canary-style deployments. And also, for example, VPC lattice allows you to mix and match the compute types for a given service, which helps you modernize a monolithic application architecture into microservices, which is the way forward. And VPC lattice is also designed to be non-invasive, which means allowing teams across your organization to incrementally opt in over time. In this way, you are able to deliver applications faster by focusing on your application logic, while VPC lattice handles service-to-service networking, security, and monitoring requirements. So it's pretty powerful tools. I'm waiting for this to be GA, so I can do a POC on EKS on Kubernetes workload. So I'm looking forward. And what are the other benefits with VPC lattice, which is again increased developer productivity? Of course, because it's taking over your headache and overhead on all these aspects which we just discussed, and also increase deliver your service faster and operate efficiently with simplified service connectivity across VPCs and accounts. Enhanced security posture. So this basically gives you adopt a stronger security posture with context-specific authentication and authorization. And the optimized compute choice, so where you can connect your services consistently across instances, containers, and serverless. Example, EKS, Lambda, and those aspects, those services. Improved scale and resilience. Resilience where it will simplify scaling compute and network resources to support high bandwidth workloads with millions of requests per second, and reduce day two operations cost, which is like because you need fewer resources to manage. This will simplify your network compared to the dedicated teams needed to typically service meshes and stuff like that. Okay, so what are the use cases here? So the common basically use cases are like if you want to secure and simple cross VPC connectivity, like granular secure access to services for zero trust, which is like improve service to service security and support zero trust architectures with centralized access to controls, authorization, authentication, and context specific authorization, as we discussed earlier. And comes to traffic management at scale, it's more like you apply granular traffic controls such as request level routing, weighted targets for blue-green and canary deployments, which is very useful. Connect thousands of services across VPCs and accounts without increasing network complexity. And the last one would be streamline service-to-service operations, which is to monitor and troubleshoot service-to-service communication with detailed access logs and metrics that capture request types, volume of the traffic, error rates, response time, and more. Cool. So that's on the VPC lattice. And now let's introduce AWS Verified Access. Again, this is a preview. So what is it about? So traditionally, remote access to applications when on road or working from home is granted by a VPN. We all log into our laptops. We all have corporate VPNs to make work secure. So once the remote workforce is, authenticated on the VPN, then, they have access to the broad range of applications depending on, multiple policies defined in siloed systems such as VPN gateway, the firewalls, identity provider, enterprise device management solutions, so what you have. So what AWS Verified Access allows you to provide? It basically provides you a secure network access without a VPN to kind of corporate applications. So how is it possible? So verified access as basically, verifies each access request in real time, and only connects the users to the applications they are allowed to access. So removing broad access to corporate applications and reducing the associated risks. To verified users against specific security requirements, verified access integrates with AWS and third-party security services to source information about identity, device security status, and location. So IT administrator can use verified access is built. IT administrator basically they can use this verified access to order a set of policies that define a user's ability to access each application. And verified access is built using the AWS Zero Trust security principles. And Zero Trust is a conceptual model and an associated set of mechanisms that focus on providing security controls around digital assets that do not solely or fundamentally depend on traditional network controls or network perimeters. So it's pretty handy, I think. And what are the high-level benefits of AWS Verified Access? Enhanced security posture, obviously, compared to traditional security model, which evaluates access once and grant network access to all users. So this adds risk to the business as bad actors could gain access to the customer's internal server and then move across the network to applications containing sensitive data. So AWS Verified Access evaluates each access request in real time, making it hard for the backtrackers to move from one application to another. Verified access also logs all the access items, which is really good, more secure, providing centralized visibility into application access, helping you to quickly respond to security incidents and audit requests. So improved end user experience. So here it obviously improves your end user experience as they gain the ability to access applications from anywhere without using a VPN. And it also reduces the IT operational overhead by reducing the number of support cases arising from VPN related issues. Simplify operations. Again, verified access also simplifies security operations by allowing administrators to efficiently set and monitor access policies, freeing time to update policies, respond to security and connectivity incidents, and audit for compliance standards. So it's pretty neat. Okay. And what are the use cases for this? So secure distributed users. So with AWS Verified Access, users access to corporate applications is based on AWS Zero Trust principles, which we discussed earlier, using multiple security signals like identity, location, device security status. AWS Verified Access evaluates each request in real time against security requirements as defined in the policy to ensure secure access to the applications. Manage corporate application access. So using AWS Verified Access, IT administrators can now define policies and onboard new applications within minutes. So you don't have to wait for days or even months to scrutinize those applications and onboard them. So IT administrators can now use AWS Verified Access to build a set of fine-grained policies using security data like device security, status, and up-to-date security software that define user ability to access each application. And accelerate time to troubleshoot. So what does that mean? So basically it also helps to evaluate each access request and logs all the request data, including security signal input used by authorized or denied requests. This provides better visibility to the networking team into corporate application access requests, thereby enabling the team to quickly gather data and intelligence to direct a faster response. So this is pretty neat, yeah. Okay, so what we have for load balancing enhancement here. So here, ALB now supports tuning across cross-zone load balancing off, similar to current functionality in NLB to ensure zonal isolation. So ALB application load balancer, NLB's network load balancer. You have improved network load balancer configurability. Customers can now configure a threshold for the minimum number of percentage or minimum number or a percentage of healthy targets for ALB and NLB in an availability zone. When the healthy target basically capacity drops below a specific threshold, the load balancer automatically stops routing to targets in the impaired AZ availability zone. And the dedicated slide for zonal shift using Amazon Route 53 application recovery controllers, zonal shift feature. You can recover from gray failures like bad application deployments by simply routing the traffic away from a single impaired AZ. So there's more information on the blog we can share, but yeah, these are the high-level enhancements. What's on the network enhancement? So here, reachability analyzer. So VPC reachability analyzer now supports network reachability analysis between AWS resources across different AWS accounts in your AWS organization, which will allow you to trace and troubleshoot the network reachability across your AWS organization. For example, reachability analyzer can help you identify a missing route table entry in your VPC route table. That could be blocking network reachability between an EC2 instance in account A that is not able to connect to another EC2 instance in account B in your AWS organization. Network manager, so now you can monitor the real time and historical performance of AWS global network for operational and planning purposes. And the AWS Network Manager provides an aggregate network latency between AWS regions, availability zones, and within each availability zone, allowing you to better understand how your application performance relates to the performance of underlying AWS network. You can monitor the network latency for AWS Global Network in up to 5-minute intervals, as well as view the 45-day historical trend from AWS Network Manager. In addition, you can also publish this latency metrics to Amazon CloudWatch to further monitor, analyze, and alert on them. Again, there are some additional resources for the blogs of which I will share. So for more information. Right, Elastic Network Adapter Express. So here, Elastic Network Adapter Express is basically uses SRD, AWS Network Protocol, lower latency, higher throughput. We discussed it, briefly in the previous slides. Reduces P99 latency of traffic flows by up to 50% and P99.9 latency by up to 85% in comparison to TCP. Increases the maximum single flow bandwidth from 5 gigabits per second to 25 gigabits per second. That's like 5 times. Works transparently to your applications with the TCP UDP protocols. We can also enable ENA Express on new existing ENAs. Sorry, improve performance for TCP UDP traffic between C6CN instances running in the same AC. And availability, it's available in all commercial AWS regions now and support 16x large size of C6CN instances with additional instance families and sizes in the works. Okay, so that's on networking and aspects. On the security and compliance, let's start with Amazon verified permissions. This is again in a preview. What is it? Amazon verified permissions is a scalable, fine-grained permissions management and authorization service for custom applications. So this service basically centralizes fine-grained permissions for custom applications and helps developers to authorize user actions within applications. So Amazon Verified Permissions uses CEDA policy language to define fine-grained permissions for application users. So what are the customer benefits out of it? Yeah? So accelerate application development by decoupling authorization from business logic. So which means you save time and resources with centralized permissions and policy lifecycle management. So it also simplifies compliance audits at scale using automated analysis to confirm that permissions work as intended. Build applications that support zero trust architectures with dynamic real-time authorization decisions. And what are the use cases for it? So it's very useful where you can you have to define a fine-grained authorization model, yeah, define a fine-grained authorization model where you within your applications and yeah, and also if you want to create policies for templates and enforce those controls into within I don't know, Amazon API Gateway and Amazon AppSync. That's also a good use case. Yeah, and if you want to grant fine-grained permissions within your applications, administrators can now create application-wide policies, and developers can grant user permissions to access data and resources. So there's pretty good security there. Audit permissions across applications, review policy, yeah, model changes, and yeah, monitor authorization requests using Amazon Verified Permissions. Centralize the policy administration system, create and centrally store policy-based access controls, and meet your application latency requirements with millisecond processing. So this is pretty cool. Again, there's some external blogs on this, so I can share the preview details. And let's go to Amazon Security Lake. So Amazon Security Lake is Amazon is a new security service that automates the sourcing, aggregation, normalization, enrichment, and data management of security-related data across an entire organization into a security data lake. And that makes the data broadly accessible to customers and security analytics solutions to power use cases such as threat detection, investigation, and incident response. Yeah, it will also reduce your operational complexity to collect security logs, events, make data strong and query efficient. So starts with AWS logs, then yeah, other sources. Reduce the security solutions ingestion costs by providing control of what gets ingested. Data is always available for later ingestion if needed. Enable data direct access to your data. Search long-term data. Build custom analytics and ML apps. It helps you automate data lifecycle management for compliance and cost optimizations, and it's make it easier for you to use for your security solution of choice. And yeah, it's centrally managed. We also have some more information there, which I will share later. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Cool. So our favorite, security butler is AWS config, proactive, AWS config, and the new aspect of it is proactive compliance. This basically proactively check the compliance within AWS config. Yeah, rules prior to resource provisioning. It also helps you to run rules at any time before provisioning, so saving time spent, and remediating non-compliant resources. So yeah, this is really good proactive compliance actually. So you can incorporate these rules into your infrastructure as a code, CDC, CI/CD pipelines. I don't know, Terraform, CloudFormation, CDK, whatever you're using, to identify non-compliant resources before even you provisioning. Use the AWS console or APIs to enable rules to run proactively. Cool. So AWS Control Tower, so comprehensive controls management. So what changes? What are the new aspects to Control Tower? So here you can basically apply manage preventive, detective, and proactive controls to accounts and organizational units by service, control objective, and compliance framework. And it will help you reduce the time to vet your AWS services from months to weeks to minutes. And you can also define, map, and manage your controls required to meet the most common control objectives and regulations. So it's mainly on if you have any regulatory requirement for these aspects, it really helps you. Right, so on the AWS organizations, the delegation of administrative accounts. So in AWS, organizational units with different operational policies and sub-administrators can be authorized and easier to implement individual policies. So it will basically give you a little granular level security and policy management here. Amazon Macy, automated data discovery. So I don't know if most of you know Amazon Macy is a data security service that discovers sensitive data using machine learning and pattern matching and enables visibility and automated protection against the data security risks. So why using Macy in general? So basically to protect your data in S3 by scanning for presence of sensitive data, such as names, addresses, credit card numbers, potentially continually monitoring your for properly configured preventive controls such as encryption and access policies. Get alerts when Macy detects publicly accessible buckets, encrypted buckets, or buckets shared with AWS account outside your organization. So scan for S3 to run full sensitive data discovery scans on your S3 buckets to provide visibility into where more sensitive data resides. What should be scanned first? So when we have petabytes of data on a daily basis, so that's why this feature is added. So automated data discovery automates the continual discovery of sensitive data and potential data security risk across your entire organization set of buckets aggregated at AWS organizational level. So Amazon Macy uses multiple automated techniques, including resource clustering by attributes such as bucket name, file types, and prefixes to minimize the data scanning needed to uncover sensitive data in your S3 buckets. So this helps you continuously identify and remediate data security risks without manual configuration and lowers the cost to monitor for and respond to the data security risks. And AWS Control Tower Account Factory Customization, AFC, the additional setting now be implemented when adding new accounts to AWS Control Tower. So previously only standard settings were offered or available for VPCs, etc., and customization required to for a combination of customization for control towers, a combination of customization. And service catalogs products can now be specified when creating an account. The product is automatically deployed when an account is created and an initial setup of account is performed. So service catalog products are defined in cloud formation templates, allowing for flexible initial setup. Amazon Web Services CloudTrail Lake, AWS config integration. So now Amazon, AWS CloudTrail Lake can now import configuration items from AWS config, and the CloudTrail logs and Amazon config derived configuration information can now be centrally collected, analyzed, facilitate security and compliance investigations. So that's pretty handy. Amazon Inspector for Lambda functions. So here, until today, the customers that wanted to analyze their mixed workloads, including EC2 instances, container images, and Lambda functions against common vulnerabilities, needed to use AWS and third-party tools. So this increased the complexity of keeping their workloads secure. So now Amazon Inspector is available starting from reInvent for functions and layers written in Java, Node.js, and Python. By default, it continually scans all the functions inside your account. But if you want to exclude a particular Lambda function, you can attach a tag with a key inspector exclusion and the value Lambda standard scanning. In addition to the functions, Amazon Inspector scans your Lambda layers. However, it only scans a specific layer version that is used in a function. So if a layer or a layer version is not used in any function, so then it won't be analyzed. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're using a third-party layers, Amazon Inspector also scans them for vulnerabilities. And Amazon Inspector finds something. All the findings are routed to AWS Security Hub and to Amazon Event Bridge. So you can build an automated workflow like sending notifications to the developers and system administrators. So that's pretty useful. Okay, so AWS KMS external key store. So as you know, now you have ability to manage your keys outside AWS using external HSM. So basically, it extends the existing AWS KMS custom key store feature beyond AWS Cloud HSM, customer control, single tenant HSM inside AWS data centers to keys or in your on-premises HSM. So this is where, if you have more security controls in place, this is also helpful to use the external key stores. Amazon Guard Duty RDS protection. So here, Amazon Guard Duty RDS protection is an expansion of Guard Duty detection. It uses ML, machine learning anomaly detection to detect suspicious logins to Aurora databases to help customers better protect their data stored in Aurora databases. So can be enabled with a single click in Guard Duty console, easy security teams to turn on and manage Guard Duty RDS protection across all accounts in an organization, analyzing and profiling access to Aurora databases. And if suspicious behaviors or attempts by non-malicious actors are identified, the Guard Duty issues an actionable security finding to the Guard Duty console, and the AWS Security Hub automatic integration is enabled, and Amazon Detective if enabled, and Amazon Event Bridge, so allowing for integration with existing security event management or workflow systems you have. It's currently available in US East, North Virginia, US East, Ohio, US West, Oregon, and Asia Pacific, Tokyo, and Europe, Ireland. So there's no additional cost in the preview period for Amazon Guard Duty RDS protection feature. So just to note, maybe some of you can do a POC test on that. All right, we're done with the security aspects of it. So now let's see what we got on the others. Amazon Omics. So Amazon Omics offer a core set of benefits with multi-omic and multi-model analysis. You can securely combine the genome data of individuals with their medical history to deliver more personalized care. You can use a purpose-built data store to support large-scale analysis and collaborative research across entire populations. You can accelerate research by using automated workflow implementations and integrate computation tools. And finally, you can protect patient privacy with GDPR-ready compliance, HIPAA eligibility, and built-in data access and logging. So it's pretty useful for data compliance purposes as well. All right, so AWS Wicker. So most of you might have heard about this. So AWS Wicker is an end-to-end encrypted collaboration service that ensures the privacy and security of your team's messaging. So voice and video calling, file sharing, and more, all while giving you the administrative controls you need to manage your users. So the concept is a single tool that offers a full suite of secure collaboration capabilities across messaging, file share, videos, voice, and screen sharing. So no need to toggle between different products. AWS Wicker can be accessed on any device and in any environment around the world, including low bandwidth and OSI environments. Anything from beach to a war zone. So AWS Wicker has administrative console controls and features to ensure the product meets and needs of enterprise customers. So the data retention capabilities allow customers to address legal, statutory, and regulatory needs. Wicker has a variety of deployment options, including on-premises, so customers can be confident in the way that they handle their highly sensitive data and company information. And of course, since security is the top of the mind for AWS and our customers, they provide full end-to-end encryption with all of our Wicker offerings. And AWS Wicker client software can operate securely on personal devices without the need for VPN or special software. And Wicker gives the customers the ability to meet the challenges of secure messaging and collaboration. And what the customer benefits are is like secure collaboration across messaging, voice and video calling, file sharing and stream sharing, as mentioned earlier. Use flexible administrative controls to deploy and manage communication networks at scale, and retain information as required for compliance, legal hold, auditing purposes. Gain multi-device mobile desktop access and the ability to function in low bandwidth environments. And the use cases are, again, secure sensitive communications where combat threats and enable out-of-the-band communications for disaster recovery, incident-based response, and facilitate data governance. Protect the privacy of regulated data, including personally identifiable information and protected health information. Enable internal external collaboration. So here, safely communicate with internal stakeholders and external partners through federation. And strengthen the administrative control, which is again established in and maintain control over user accounts, security settings, and compliance policies. Which is now available in US East, North Virginia region. And we have more information on the blog, so which we could share. AWS IoT Core updates. So here, AWS IoT Core has added support for MQTT5. This has been a heavily requested feature. Up to until now, AWS IoT Core has supported only MQTT 3.1.1, but with MQTT5 introduces many new features, including message headers for fast messaging processing, shared subscriptions to enable load balancing of the message reception, and request response topics to enable ACKs. And these are especially useful in the command control scenarios. Think remote switch on off lights or opening of doors, things like that. And AWS IoT Core supports MQTT5 by adding an additional message broker. So MQTT 3.1.1 workloads are uninterrupted. So customers can even deploy heterogeneous fleets of devices. And IoT Core Device Advisor is a tool for testing that your devices can reliably, securely connect to IoT Core. All Device Advisor test cases can now support MQTT5 and 3.1.1 version as well. And the next one is AWS SimSpace Weaver. So what is it? So it's basically a managed service that lets you create expansive simulation worlds at increased levels of complexity and scale without worrying about the underlying compute, memory, and networking. So all while you paying only a fraction of cost, compared to procuring a high-end hardware. So what are the customer pain points? So previously, simulation engine ran on a single server, making synchronized distribution difficult, limits the number of entities and their behavior complexity, requires managing, volumes of code, compute, and networking, needs, server threading, server sharding and layering to separate layers, And the customer benefits would be, scale spatial simulations across multiple instances to increase the size, complexity, or number of objects in your simulation. Time-consuming challenges surrounding data management, crossover replication, and time synchronization, across instances are automatically managed for you by this service, and integrate with popular development toolkits and simulation engines out of the box, such as Unreal Engine 5 and Unity. And what are the typical use cases? So large-scale crowd simulation, like simulate crowds with millions of individual entities to plan large-scale events. Recreate virtual city environments, simulate traffic patterns to public transportation networks, to future infrastructure projects, and build it all in real-world scale. Create immersive, interactive experiences. Let multiple users observe and interact with virtual 3D worlds. It's getting a big traction nowadays. So yeah, pretty interesting there. And the next one would be AWS supply chain. So supply chain is another example where customers are asking AWS to solve for complexity and remove constraints. So AWS supply chain is a cloud-based application that unifies data, provides ML-powered actionable insights, machine learning, and offers a built-in contextual collaboration. And AWS supply chain can connect to your existing enterprise resource planning, ERP, tool, whatever you have, and supply chain management systems without requiring replatforming, upfront licensing fee, long-term commitments, and stuff like that. So customer benefits, quickly gain visibility across your supply chain without replatforming, upfront licensing fee, and long-term commitments. And there's a blog also explaining more in details about this, so you can refer to it later. AWS Marketplace announcement. So AWS Marketplace, there are a lot of vendor insights now generally available in public AWS regions where Marketplace is available, helping customers and sellers streamline the complex third-party software risk assessment process by enabling the sellers to make security and compliance information available in AWS Marketplace. And a unified web-based dashboard gives a governance, risk, and compliance (GRC) teams to access to security and compliance information such as data privacy and residency, application security, and access control. Vendor insights serves buyers who need help to efficiently validate that third-party software meets their business compliance needs. So vendor insights also serves the sellers, who want to showcase the strong security posture while reducing the operational burden from responding to the buyer requests for risk assessment information. So yeah, there's a new announcement and blog, so which we would share. So pretty interesting here. And the other aspect would be the Amazon bracket algorithm library, so which is again a Python implementation of well-known algorithms such as quantum phase estimation, quantum circuit, bound machines, and quantum walks are now available as open source on GitHub. So people who are interested on this quantum world, please, we can play around. We will share some links. Direct code loading with Jupyter notebooks. I'll share some links. So Amazon Connect forecasting and capacity planning and scheduling. So respond, faster to capacity and workforce changes in machine learning powered contact center capabilities. So the new things are basically Amazon Contact forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling. Now it's generally available. So provides new machine learning powered capabilities for contact centers. So it also allows you forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling, which will help your contact center managers forecast contact demand, determine optimal staffing levels, and ensure the right agents are available at the right time to meet your operational and business goals. Why is this important to the customers? So ensuring the right agents are staffed at the right time requires contact center managers to consider an often overwhelming number of factors like uneven contact volume patterns, agent attrition, regional level loss, and more. So to solve this, some organizations use spreadsheets to manually forecast customer demand and schedule agents accordingly, which is labor intensive and inefficient. So others rely on expensive and difficult to integrate third-party solutions that still deliver a disjoint experience. So AWS believe contact centers, irrespective of the size, need these native capabilities to efficiently staff and optimize agent schedule. So this helps them improve both customer experience and agent experience while managing their operational costs. So 75% of which are driven by staffing per FBCO report. And Amazon Connect's forecasting capability, capacity planning, and scheduling is generally available in 4 regions: US East, North Virginia, so US West Oregon, US Pacific Sydney, and Europe London. So more information is available on the reference link which I'll provide you. So for now, let's move on. Amazon Connect Agent Workspace guides. So this basically empowers agents with unified experience, including step-by-step guides. And it also helps like a single intuitive application that provides your agents with tools, step-by-step guidance needed on board quickly, resolve issues efficiently, improve your customer experiences. Out-of-the-box agent workspace integrates with all your agents, to go into one screen view. With this feature, you can create workflows that walk agents through custom UI pages that suggest what to do at a given moment during a customer interaction. So this is pretty useful. And Amazon Connect contact lens chat support, again, empowering agents with a unified experience, including step-by-step guides. Amazon Connect Agent Workspace is a single intuitive application that provides your agents with tools, step-by-step guidance needed to onboard quickly and resolve issues, as I mentioned earlier. So it's pretty useful here. Amazon Game Lift Anywhere. So again, it provides session management for multiplayer games and can now be run on a single, users on-prem, and also other servers, and not just on Amazon. So register your own servers to run as an Anywhere fleet and integrate with GameLift, FlexMatch, queue service, and other cloud-based functions via APIs. So all for the gamers. Cool. Moving on. So Amazon Web Services basically innovating to improve their water use efficiency, and they are leading among the cloud providers with efficiency metrics of 0.25 liters of water consumption per kilowatt hour. And as we announced on in the reInvent, they also committed to become a water positive by 2030, and they basically want to make 100% renewable energy by 2025, and it's pretty positive news from them. As I said, water positive by 2030. Because we have a largest community of customers and partners, so they have this opportunity to see more and more business challenges, so more new ways of solving problems, global impacts of regulation, and emerging trends. And let's stay in touch and connect with our Amazon community. So this is basically we have communities everywhere, so one of that is part of this. And that will summarize my session, to be honest, and I will end here. Thank you.